Aloha everyone, I'm in that Laureles neighborhood today of Medellin, Colombia. I'm on my way right now to District 1. It's a delicious Vietnamese restaurant owned by my friend Hugh, who's also a really cool dancer in the neighborhood. I want you guys to meet him because I think his life story is just amazing. So alright guys, let me take you there so you guys can check it out. So I have here someone who has agreed to interview regarding their experience at Medellin. What's your name, friend?
Hugh. My name's Hugh Lee.
Nice. And Hugh, where are we right now? This is a beautiful establishment, but can you tell us a little bit about where we are?
We're in Laureles. It's a really great neighborhood in Medellin, Colombia. It is super walkable, and my favorite thing about it is there are no hills.
Nice. And where are you originally from? Are you from Medellin, Colombia?
No. I'm definitely a transplant. I'm from the Bay Area in California.
Yeah. All right. And I'm curious to know what brought you here to Colombia.
So that one's a little bit of a long story, so I'll try to make it really quick.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
I was working as a contractor in Afghanistan for like 14 months straight.
Okay.
And I didn't have any vacations or any days off, so I was really at the end of my rope. So my boss recommended I should take a long vacation instead of quitting. So I threw a dartboard at a world map and it landed on Colombia. I was like, okay, why not?
No way. Are you telling me this is all by chance from hitting a dartboard?
Yep, because at that point I didn't care where I was going as long as it was not Afghanistan.
What? This is that's a cool story. Okay, man. And so wait a second. What were you doing to get into Afghanistan?
I was an intelligence contractor.
Are you allowed to talk about that on?
Probably not.
Okay.
So,
okay.
No.
Check for the deleted scenes, guys, later. No, but what were some of the goals you wanted to accomplish of coming down here?
Just a refresh. When you're feeling stale where you are, maybe you should just go somewhere else, and that's what I did. So I did a lot of backpacking through Colombia. My actual plan was to go through all of South America and only spend a couple of days here in Colombia. But I got here, my plane landed, I looked left, I looked right, and they're like, I don't really need to go nowhere else.
What would you say is one of the biggest things that kept you here?
Oh, the climate. The climate was eternally spring. Everything to love about the climate, maybe a little bit too much rain, but story for another day. So the cost of living is really cheap, and the women and the people are so nice and beautiful.
Oh, definitely. I agree wholeheartedly with everything he just said, for sure. One of the reasons why I've been out here half a year already as well. It's an awesome place to live. However, where we are now in Laureles, the neighborhood you just mentioned, we're actually in your restaurant. And that in itself is kind of cool. You're an American who has come down here and opened up a restaurant. Can you tell me a little bit about that restaurant?
So the name of the restaurant is District 1. And when I came down here the very first time in 2018, this restaurant used to exist in Provenza. It's a neighborhood in Poblado, owned by Alex Nan. So he started the whole thing. And prior to the pandemic, he was doing really well. And he offered me a chance to open my own. I took the opportunity and got the process started. Unfortunately, the Provenza restaurant closed down during the pandemic with no plans to reopen. But I had already started the process for down here. So we just went forward through it right in the middle of the pandemic, and luckily it worked out. So I'm happy to say that I have a successful Vietnamese restaurant here in Medellin, Colombia.
Awesome. That's so cool. And you mentioned that the pandemic gave you some troubles. I mean, I'm sure it's a global thing, but what are some of the things that were challenging for you during that time?
It was the uncertainty about whether or not the restaurant industry would reopen or stay closed. Back in when I opened in April, it was starting to close up again, but we were so close to finishing renovations that we had to basically open and hope for the best, or not open and just run out of money and never open. So we opened up right at the start of the lockdowns, and luckily we were able to make enough from just deliveries alone, from the hype on the Facebook groups, that we had enough business to stay solvent until Colombia reopened officially.
Wow. I mean, and it's doing a lot better now that the pandemic is more under control in this area, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We're growing our local customer base, introducing Colombians to just the magic that is Vietnamese food. But a lot of tourists, after they have their fill of arepas, bandeja paisas, all of the local Colombian fare, they start craving like stuff that you can't get in Colombia, like Asian food. Good Asian food is hard to find in Medellin, Colombia. It's super hard to find. So I opened it up and we filled a niche.
Yes. And I gotta say, guys, I came here to eat a couple times, and it was delicious. Well, I love pho. I'm from the Bay Area, and pho is huge there. So are the bami sandwiches and a bunch of other plates. So it's delicious stuff. I can vouch that it's good stuff down here, guys. Can you tell me a little bit about what's on your menu, though?
Oh, so we have just mostly traditional Vietnamese stuff, and we threw in some other noodle dishes just to kind of round out our menu for people who don't want noodle soup. So our beef pho is cooked with a lot of TLC, tender love and care. The bones cook for minimum 24 hours before they're removed from the broth. And by that point, we're on a busy street, sorry guys. By that point, the beef flavor is really in the broth. So we got beef pho, chicken pho, veggie pho. Then we have a Vietnamese rice dish, fried rice with our lemongrass marinated pork. And we throw in pad thai in there just to round out the flavors.
That sounds so good. That sounds so good. Now that, you know, people have heard your story of an American that has come to Colombia to set up a business, what's in store for you next, man?
Ooh, well, the business runs itself at this point. I have really great staff in place. They run the business even when I'm not here. So it's kind of bittersweet because like I love being part of the process, but now it's running so well that whenever I come in, I start slowing things down. So it's like I have to take a step back and figure out what's next for me. Right now, I'm just looking into doing a coding boot camp and learning that new career goals.
So although you've already established yourself as someone successful in the sense that you've accomplished certain goals, not only at home but abroad, you want to continue learning more things.
Oh, I'm only 29, so it's either you keep living, learning, and growing, or you just stay stagnant. So one of these days I'll get a six-pack and I'll get this nice career in coding. It's just long-term goals.
I love it. Well, man, I gotta say thank you so much, man, for taking your time to do this interview. And you'll see him perhaps in the city one of these days dancing on the dance floor, because he gets down, guys. He gets down. Tell him what you do, buddy.
So I love bachata and I can do some salsa. If you come down to Latin America, if you don't learn how to dance, what did you really do?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I met the guy. So if you don't come to the restaurant, you might see him on a dance floor, guys. So thanks again, and check you guys later.
See ya.